Welcome back to some new malicious compliance stories, where people complied to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Time Difference. In the 1970s, before email and faxes, my father-in-law, Carl, worked as a trust agent for a bank in the Midwest. He handled trusts in the States for bank customers, including one older lady. Her son-in-law, Bruton, lived in California, which is 3 hours behind Carl, and managed his mother-in-law's estate on her behalf. Bruton used to call Carl with questions, which is not a problem. Except Bruton would call Carl at home at 8 p.m. ET, expecting him to answer questions. Carl would be at home, eating dinner or spending time with his family, so Bruton's calls were unwelcome. Carl would explain the time difference and said that Bruton should call before 5 p.m. ET, not PT, but Bruton always ignored Carl's requests and demanded that Carl call him back first thing in the morning. Carl was nice and would wait until 11 a.m. ET to give Bruton time to get settled in his own office, until he decided he'd had enough. The day after Bruton's latest call, Carl went to his office extra early, got the information, and then promptly at 8 a.m. Carl called Bruton's house. A sleepy Bruton answered the phone and croaked, "Hello?" "Good morning, Bruton." Carl Albert hollered into the phone. "What time is it?" Bruton groaned. "It's 8, Carl said, "but it's 5 in the morning here." "Huh, so it is. I guess there's a 3-hour time difference. But you said you wanted these answers first thing in the morning, and it's 8 here, so I thought I'd give you a call." Bruton never called past 5 p.m. again. The next story is called Productive. I work as a medical biller for a large local hospital system. My job is to look at claims that the insurance companies are rejecting, figure out why, and make whatever corrections are necessary to resubmit. I've been 100% working from home since March 2020, and overall, I like my job. The only real issue I have these days is that productivity metrics get raised every 6 to 8 months. Adding 4 to 6 claims I have to do per day to qualify as productive. I also used to have a team lead who was crazy about the metrics. This included calling me on the phone and threatening me with having to return to the office, because I had a week where I averaged out to 1 under the minimum specified by the metrics. I am self-taught in a lot of what I do, and I know I work a lot more challenging claims while my coworkers load up on easy cases to fluff their numbers. I'm currently in a place where I don't have any issues hitting my metrics, even having days where I hit my requirement before lunch. So now, whenever I hit my metric, currently 40 claims per day, I step away from my desk and take a really good break. When I return to my desk, I work just enough that it doesn't send up any red flags in the system. And as long as I'm not under my metric, no one complains. The third story is called Shortest Notice. Right now, I am the sole IT person, as both my colleagues are on a well-deserved vacation. So naturally, I am very busy. With 3 projects coming to an end in a few weeks, it's impossible to do that and all daily tasks. 2 days ago, the higher-ups informed us at roughly 9 p.m. that the next day a new employee would start. As expected, I did not have login credentials ready when the employee started yesterday at 7 a.m. After I got into the office, I was asked what happened, and I explained that I couldn't create a login while asleep. I was told that this person is highly skilled and needs to work ASAP. I told them it needed time and they would get the credentials within the day. So I created the user and scheduled the mail with the credentials to 11:55 p.m. I got asked today why it was so late, and I told them I delivered in time and I can't split myself into 2 people. The last story is called News Cycle. I used to work for a major food packing company. My job was purchasing for production, which was all of the ingredients to make the product. Another purchaser was in charge of packaging, jars mostly, along with labels and shipping boxes. Then there was the warehouse, who are responsible for everything that enters or leaves the facility. These 3 positions are the only ones required to do cycle counts, which were generated by accounting and sent to us 2 days before they are due. We all fell under the CFO, and because we all dealt with items that generated profits and loss, we had to do weekly, monthly and annual cycle counts. Mine were pretty easy, 6 items per week, 15 per month and everything annually. It was similar for packaging as well. And for mine, most of my stuff was fresh ingredients, so it would already be in production, so I had nothing to count. The warehouse on the other hand had a much more simplified schedule, nothing weekly or monthly, 3 items per quarter and half of the inventory annually. They would also get their inventory list 2 to 3 weeks before the due date. This was all intentional, because the amount they had to count was insane, and it would be lucky if they had 2 people at a time to count. One single item could take a week on its own, because of the sheer volume and the fact that the product was coming and going constantly. I felt bad for them. We each get a meeting invite from the CFO to discuss the cycle counts and go when the day arrives. CFO explains that they have noticed a loss trend occurring, so they wanted us to increase our cycle counts. For me and packaging, everything basically doubled. Weekly and monthly doubled. We now had a semi-annual half inventory count, and annual remained the same. It was bad, but was manageable. Then the warehouse was politely ordered to sit on a rusty knife. Still no weekly counts, but now had monthly with 5 items. Quarterly doubled, added semi-annually with 10 items, and annual was bumped up to 75% of inventory. I looked over at the warehouse guy, Ty, and he just bowed his head. The CFO is a very intelligent and nice guy, but he is all about the analytics of numbers and not the human element. Any questions? Ty was trying to gather his thoughts. This is, a lot. I'm aware it is an increase, but this is the best way to get the data we need to figure out where the losses are occurring and take action. Are you going to hire anybody else for the warehouse to help? We do not have any plans to. Can we get a scanner or something? This is going to take a significant amount of time to complete and will cause issues. Let's go by this new plan and we will re-evaluate in a few months. Ty had a defeated look and just said, okay. My next couple of counts took me a little longer, but nothing I couldn't handle. Then came the week of our first monthly with the new rules. I was missing a pretty significant amount of a couple of items and found they should have been delivered that week, confirmed by the company I ordered from. I went to talk to Ty and found him deep in the warehouse, where he shouldn't need to be, as he mostly scheduled trucking to distributors. He was on a pile of product, trying to count thousands of boxes before the deadline. He was sweating like crazy, and after I explained my issue, he explained they were behind on incoming packages and it could be there. I told him I'd take a look, and if I found them, I'll input it into the system and get him what he needs. I found what I needed and all was well. A similar thing happened the next month, and I began dreading the first quarterly count. The cracks that had already shown got a lot bigger, but the CFO said to stay the course. The warehouse had accumulated a significant amount of overtime, and now outgoing shipments were being delayed. The semi-annual arrived, and we nearly had to shut down the whole plant, because the warehouse wasn't getting anything out, but production never slowed. So we were running out of space to store anything. They pulled almost everybody from their office to help with the count, so almost nothing else was getting done. The packaging purchaser and I handled all of the incoming items to help where we could, but the overtime for the warehouse tripled from the previous month. The day after the counts were due, a few people called in sick, and many scheduled vacations around when they knew the annual was going to happen. Pretty much everybody in the plant was set off, complaining to every manager they could. Within a week, the CFO instructed the warehouse that they were going back to their previous schedule and requirements and life returned to normal. I don't know what the full damage was or how things were going forward, because I walked out one day, but I hope the warehouse is happy. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.